going on, Jeromes? Breaking things down into bite-sized morsels, a little bit of Q&A action, 5 good questions on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. First up, Daniel J. Hampshire. What's your thoughts on a first-round quarterback and the success the Texans have had with doing what they did in the playoffs and the lack of the Vikings doing something similar? So I think the Texans have been smart, which Nick Caserio, his time in Houston didn't start off great, but they've piled up premium players at premium positions because besides Stroud at 2, which was a home run, the trade up for Will Anderson got him at 3. He's going to be a talisman on the edge. They already had Stingley. They already had Tunsil. They already had Nico Collins. And then went got Tank Dell. And, I mean, Houston's going to be good for a long time, man. And also they hit it out of the park with DeMeco Ryans, right? And a lot of teams are going to try and emulate this, but C.J. Stroud's instant success, frankly, I think that he should have been top 5 finalists in the MVP voting on top of probably splitting Offensive Rookie of the Year with Puka. But I mean, Stroud is an absolute outlier because you look at guys taken in the top 3 before, and yeah, you could cherry pick anything, but you look at Zach Wilson, you look at Sam Darnold, you look at Trey Lance, you look at players up in the stratosphere who have not made it, and I think that C.J. Stroud was the right player in the right spot, in the right situation, and Houston, I mean, they struck gold. They absolutely did. So again, lots of teams are going to try and do this, but I do think that where's my quarterback rankings? There you go. And I think that by seeing the success of Stroud, like I said, I think more teams will try and do this. But also, you look at last year, all the rumors that the Vikings were interested in trading up for a quarterback, notably Anthony Richardson. Maybe the Vikings do make a move up into the stratosphere and get themselves, Drake May, Caleb Williams, or Jaden Daniels, and just be like, Kirk, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been kind of real fun, but deuces, we're starting over, baby. All right. Next up, Skippy. Do you think the Vikings will pick up a cheap but experienced bridge quarterback like Gardner Minshew if they don't re-sign Kirk or let a rookie take over from day one? What other quarterbacks could you see them signing? I mean, that's the general thinking, isn't it? Like, if you draft a quarterback high and he's going to be groomed as the quarterback of the future, I mean, some teams just throw the kid in, and sometimes it's the right thing to do, sometimes it's not. But a lot of, conservative coaching staffs be like, oh, the kid's got to earn his spot. And then they'll start some journeyman backup veteran, like a Jabroni Brisket, like a Gardner Minshew, like a Ty God, like a Ryan Fitzpatrick was famous for this for a long time, right? But, I mean, the Texans, too. I mean, the Texans picking up, Case Keenum. All right. But with the Vikings, I mean, Nick Mullins is under contract. He signed a 2-year deal, so he'll be back next year. Obviously, a clear favorite of Kevin O'Connell and company. So I think the Vikings, they might pass on bringing in a journeyman backup quarterback. Although guys like Tannehill could be out there, Jameis. But if they do make a move for a quarterback and they get rid of Kirk, I think they may just roll with Mullins and go from there. Number 3, George M. Hey, Andy, love the show. What do you think it would take to trade up in the draft to get a top 3 pick? So it's going to be spendy. All right, so last year the Bears got number 9 overall, a future first, another future first, and some change, as well as DJ Moore. 2 firsts, couple seconds, and DJ Moore, something like that. But I mean, there's already speculation that the Bears could get even more, or for this year's number 1 overall pick. I think that remains to be seen. But are we talking about minimum 3 first-round picks to moving up to 1? Yes, I think that's where things start and end. And also with the Vikings, well, first off, the Bears, I don't think they would ever trade in division with the Vikings. I think it just is what it is because, hell, even if the Vikings offer more than any other team, I think that they would actually pass because could you imagine being in division and you give your division rival their future franchise quarterback for the next 15 years? And every single time you play, you have to be reminded about it. Ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen, man. But if the Vikings want to move up to Washington at 2, although Washington clearly could be in on a quarterback, or New England at 3, I think the key, I don't think the Vikings could trade up into the top 5. I just really don't, because I think them at 11, that being part of the trade, I think that's too large of a fall for some of these teams who, I mean, Arizona, I could see them moving, but not down too far. They want to stay in range of one of the best wide receivers in the class, whether that's Neighbors, whether that's Harrison Jr., whether that's Adunze, etc. But if going from 4 to 11, they can miss out on those three guys, or the Chargers with Brock Bowers, or something like that. But I mean, could the Vikings get up to 6? I mean, if the Giants are really going to roll with Daniel Jones, could the Vikings get up to 6? Maybe Jaden Daniels or Drake May or someone takes a little bit of a tumble. Are they available there? I mean, it's possible, but I think it could be a spot too where it's win, play, show. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, 1, 2, 3 in some fashion. And then it might be a quarterback dead zone. So the Vikings may have their choice of those second-tier guys in terms of McCarthy, Penix, Nix, etc. at 11. So again, it's very early in the draft process, but I mean, a team going up to 1, it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them a lot, even getting into the top 3. R3, given the current level of competition in our division, what would reasonable expectations be for the GM and coach for this offseason as well as the upcoming couple seasons? What do you need to see to keep both guys? Well, I think Kwesi and O'Connell sold the Wilfs on a vision where, hey, last year, 2022, we're going to have one last ride with some of these veterans. They let go of Anthony Barr 2 off seasons ago before bringing him back, by the way. But 13-4, want some more winning the division, and the Wilfs were excited about that. But then you parted ways with stalwarts like Kendricks and Thielen and Patrick Peterson and Dalvin Cook. And now this offseason, I mean, you may be parting with Harrison Smith, or he may retire, or you may not re-sign Kirk Cousins, or Danielle Hunter might not be back. So I understand the thing about having a competitive rebuild. Now, if Kwesi in an honest moment, would he have tried to field a weak roster year 1 to try and get that draft pick up high? But ownership is never going to do that. No, because they want a competitive product. They want hope. They want butts in those seats. They want attention on the team, and that's their prerogative. And I mean, that's also what you should be doing, right? And building upon a winning culture every single season. Now, year 3, I think in division you have a clear example of what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell did in year 3. So I think that is the bar. I think the Vikings need to be back in divisional contention next year. Damn the torpedoes, damn injuries, damn whatever. And the Vikings need to be in the playoffs, and they need to win at least one playoff game. I think that's where we're currently at. Where, I mean, the Vikings bomb out again, injuries or no injuries, if they miss the playoffs next year, I think that you could see changes. And you could say that that's fair. You could say that that's foul because of the 3 years into the competitive rebuild, but it is what it is. And I think that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, they should have their feet to the fire. I think they should have raised expectations. And it's going to have to become an arms race in the NFC North because unless the Wilfs want to finish 4th place in this division for many years to come, something's got to get done. They got to take chances. They got to rack up and stack up a couple of great young players at key positions. They got to find their quarterback. They got to rebuild that defensive line and go from there. Lastly, number 5. Traveler, 5 moves that happened across the league this offseason that will shock people. 1 move that the Vikings from the Vikings that will shock. So, 5 around the league. Number 1, Tomlin leaves. Tomlin just says deuces to the Steelers. Now, he may just take a year off, work TV. He would do phenomenal doing that, and then just have his choice of head coaching jobs next year. It's possible, man. Number 2, Belichick to the Falcons, which is so funny because of what he did to them, right? 28-3. But then you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. So Belichick is 72. No more pussyfooting around. The Falcons trade 3 first-round picks and change up to 3 first-round picks and Kyle Pitts to the Bears. Actually, no, they have Kmet. 3 first-round picks. And I don't know. Who do the Bears want? Do they want Bajan? I don't know. Do they want Drake London? Who knows? But the Falcons trade up from 8 to 1, and they take Caleb Williams. The Bears roll with Justin Fields for another go around, and we'll see what happens. Number 3, Max Crosby gets traded. I don't know where, but maybe he gets traded. Unless Antonio Pierce. Wouldn't it be so funny? It's like Max Crosby's like, hey, if you don't hire Antonio Pierce, trade me. But then they do hire Antonio Pierce, but he gets traded anyways. Devontae Adams gets traded to the Jets, but then the Jets fail with Aaron Rodgers fully healthy. And it turns out that the Jets are just bad, and they don't improve that offensive line. Rodgers just gets shelled in the pocket all year next season. There you go. And then for Vikings shocking move, Kirk walks. He signs with the newfangled Steelers under new ownership and new ownership, but new head coach. And then the Vikings trade up to 3. Damn the torpedoes, damn the costs, and take Jane Daniels. And he's super fun. Future franchise quarterback of the Vikings. Number 5. Staying alive for number 5. There you go. But that's it. That's a bite-sized little 5 good questions Q&A. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. You know what to do. Skol, production value.